Hey, everybody, welcome to Never Alone Homestead. I'm so glad that you dropped by today. Y'all, I'm heading back to the garden again. My name is Cammie, and I just want to say welcome to Never Alone Homestead. I'm so thankful that you would take the time just to listen to me. All right, guys, here we go. We're going to go out here to the garden and see what is going on with these squash. Step over this fence. Okay. So it's naturally been raining here once again. And today we want to visit the squash because here we see the late squash that's been planting, but they are taken off. I am just amazed. These squash are late squash, but they are taken off. And it has been a very difficult year here on the East Coast in the South in North Carolina to get squash growing because of so much rain. But with determination and nothing to lose, we are getting squash. Check it out, guys. I got squash. These are the plants that I made a video and I said, what is wrong with these squash? So now we can say there's nothing wrong with these squash. So let's go down a little bit further and see what we find. Check it out. Voila! Yay! Yay! More squash, y'all. You see, that's what determination will do for you. So while we are looking for squash, we also want to look for squash bugs or squash bug eggs. We're looking for diseased leaves, anything that's out of the normal that we want to, do something about it if it's out of the normal. So while we're picking these squash, we also want to look at the skin to see if the skin has gotten tough yet. And so we look at the size and we look at the skin color. The darker the color of the yellow, I know the tougher of the skin is. And by looking at the color, it also lets me know to go ahead and pick before the skin gets tough. A nice yellow appearing color is a sign to pick. I don't want to wait until they're so big that I can't use them because they'll just be seedy. And seedy plants is not good eating plants. Tender squash tastes the best. And as I'm picking, I take notice of the leaves to see if there's any need to prune. Pruning some of the leaves back helps the bees to find the blooms. And also those leaves those leaves leave a place for that all the nutrients can go to the rest to the plant. And so when it's time to pick squash, usually you can just twist the squash and they will break. They will just break off, The ends will just break off from the plant. And as you're picking, you just also want to look and see if there's any worms or any squash bugs or any mildew powder or leaves that are dying. If so, just go ahead and pinch those dying leaves off. Let that nutrient go to your plants. And look to see if there's anything that needs to be, taken care of in your garden as you're going. Look and see if the plant is healthy enough. And so here we are looking at these plants as I'm going along to see if it's a healthy plant. If it's not healthy, then what I need to do is to address the issue immediately. You want to look at your squash and see if it is getting to a place that it's seeding or not. let's look down here and see what we can see. So, going in here, we've got more squash to pick. And what I'm doing, I'm turning and twisting it to get it to come off. So if you gently twist the squash, it should just pop right on off. If it doesn't pop right off, then take a knife and cut it at the base a little, and it will just snap off. And, you know, there are so many varieties of squash and plants to choose from to be planting. There's so many varieties of squash that with these squash, these plants right here are really close together, so they should be planted at least 2 feet apart. But these squash plants here have been planted the second, the third, and up to the fourth time planting this year. You know, the rain was so much that I finally figured out what was wrong with the squash. I made a video, what is wrong with these squash? The number one thing that was wrong with these squash is that they was planted later than usual because I had back surgery and it was rain, and you know, it just started raining and raining and raining. It rained so much that thick algae was into the garden. And I've never seen algae into the garden before. These plants wouldn't grow. They would grow just a little bit, and then they would die. And finally, the temperature regulated to normal, and these babies took off. And the season is on. They took off, and when the season is almost over, the rain was rotting these plants. It was rotting the roots. And so I just kept on. You know, these plants that are now getting huge, but the rain was rotting the stems and the roots. These plants are actually a little bit too close together, and a lot of that has to do with part of the way that I do my planting, because I like to prune out the leaves. And another part is because I had to keep planting, and so I just planted the seeds to see if it would, they would make it. You know, when planting takes place later into the season, with the plants, it's a good chance they could be disease prone. Also, planting later, they won't last as long as early planting into the spring. So with these plants, I will now see how they will do here into the south, where there's lots of humidity and the weather is hotter. So planting later means they probably won't last as long. Or, when you plant later, then your plants won't last as long as they would into the spring. So for those who are wondering if you can plant late, then the answer to you is yes. But it's also depending on your area. I mean, you could get up as much as 3 crops into a summer. If you transplant your seedlings, and then it gives you, besides planting into the ground, these are planting into the ground planted. If you plant your seedlings, you have little plants, about 3 inches tall, 2 or 3 inches tall, it gives you at least 2 or 3 weeks jump start onto the season. Wait a minute. I thought I heard a chicken over here. I'll make sure these chickens are not in here eating my squash and tomatoes. But anyways, going back to what I was saying, planting these squash, once again, this late can be disease prone. But you don't know what you're going to get until you try. And so that's what we're going to be doing here. You get what you can. If they get disease, you get what you can and pull the plants up and get them out. And with this current weather and with this uncertain times, we don't know for sure how or will they do anything out here. But we will see by just continuing on. And right now, they look like they're doing pretty well. It is in July. It's almost fixing to be in the midst of July. And so most of July is going to be, it's going to be gone before you know it. And I am getting squash, and I'm expecting these babies to take off. So, with all this sun, now check this one out. Talking about the color. Now, it's huge. This color is a little bit darker than, say, this color. This is like a bright yellow. This one has gone a little bit darker. This is going to be more seedy. Now, the way I was raised, the old-timey way, I would take my fingernail. I was taught to take your fingernail, and if your fingernail goes in, you know, easily, it's not, say, you can tell by doing that if it's tough or not. Then this right here is still good. It's, you know, actually you could take this with the skin just being a little bit more tougher. It'll make good fried squash. So I guess I need to get my basket down there, but let me go get it. So they are taking off, and yeah, you know, it's like here at one time I really didn't think I was going to get squash. I was really shocked because I never had a problem growing squash. As a matter of fact, growing squash was one of my favorite plants to grow. It was one of those easy plants, okay? Pretty much everything I grow to me is kind of easy, but you know, cucumbers and the basic squash and okra, anyway, it's just easy. But this year has been a very difficult year. And so far, this is a good little bumper crop here. So I'm going to reach down here. I've got some more squash down in here. And once again, I waited purposely to pick this one later. Now, it was kind of hard when your squash is coming off to try and leave it on there. But once again, taking my fingernail and pushing into it, this one has now actually gotten tougher. My fingernail will not go into it easy, so actually it's kind of too tough. Now, I'll probably break it open and see how big the seeds are, and it's not really big enough to be, you know, probably getting the seeds out of it, but I'll just probably cut it open and give it to the chickens. So, nothing around here onto the homestead ever goes to waste. So there's another one down there. I think I'll wait into the morning to pick. Now, this one right here, this little one down here, it doesn't look like, I don't know, it just looks like it didn't get pollinated, which is amazing to me because the bees are been having a party here in the south right here. They've been in this garden. They have been partying down, busy as a bee, as they say. All right, y'all, I just want to show you the squash that finally came about. That for those who are just getting started, I've been trying to encourage y'all to, you know, get a garden going. Get some planting going on. You know, this is the season. It's season of abundance. We have abundance of rain, abundance of storms, abundance of insects, just abundance. So we have to take the good and the bad. We have to be determined. And we just need to, I see another squash. I'm going to go get it. We just got to be determined. We just got to get at it. All right, y'all. God bless you. Thank you so much for watching. Please like, please subscribe, please share. And yeah, it's been about a week before I made a video. But I'm taking care of my mom. And here on the homestead, it can get quite busy. So just with taking care of my mom is a job itself. But y'all, thank you so much for taking the time. And remember, make it a great day. God bless you. Have a wonderful day. Thank you so much.